and I'm hearing this guy say, yeah, that what's his name, DeSantis, is really pushing the envelope on making sure that Florida goes tax-free on property taxes. And I'm saying, hey, make sure you send that to Elisa. This way we can talk that on the show. She goes, what are you talking about? It's not YouTube, it's AM radio. So now this is being pushed on AM radio. Unbelievable. I know there's a bunch of things you want to talk about, Elisa, and we got our new guest today filling in for Laura Eisenhower because she's busy going to Mars for a little bit. She'll be back. I think she's got a layover in Pluto, and then she'll be back, I think, next week. So next Monday, you'll see Laura coming back. And welcome Carol Maureen from Costa Rica.
Hey.
Hi, Carol.
Hey, awesome.
Hello, hello.
So nice to see you. Saw you at the summit earlier this month, and now you're back home.
Yeah, it was a great summit. You did a great job, all of you. That it's a lot of work to put together, as you realize. But I did it for many, many years.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here today. So, well, first things first, Mike, I must say that last week you made a comment about how women are unreliable. And I gotta say, you were late today. You held us up.
I did. And it's my fault. The difference is watch this very closely, Elisa, because I'm about to take responsibility for being late. Okay, so therein lies the difference.
So women don't take responsibility.
No, I don't know. You're married. You're
just pissed off about 2.5 billion women on planet Earth.
Yes, and they're lovely, and we love them all. I thought Laura was going to try to be on with us at 5 Eastern, right? And I got it in my head it was 5 Eastern, so I looked at my clock. I got done with my own podcast this morning. And I'm like, well, I got time to go to Costco and pick up my prescriptions and do a little grocery shopping. And then Mel calls me and is like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm screwed is where I am, Mel. I'm in a town called Screwed because I'm late. But I finally made it. Thank you for waiting for me. I appreciate it.
That's funny.
There's a town called Screwed?
So I'm actually blaming Laura for being late. Let's do it.
Well, she's not here, so you could blame her, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She might see this, though.
I know.
So we got a nice lineup of a few subjects to talk about. Lisa, I know you got a nice outline going. So why don't you lead us off, and then we'll just jump in as needed.
Right. Yeah, I got like 3 things. And of course, if anybody else has anything important, but these are the couple of things that I picked up from this week. So what I thought was really exciting, kind of like continuing our discussions about NESARA. And, we really got into that. I think it was last show, maybe the show before. But anyway, this week, Mississippi ended state income tax. So, we've got this rolling out happening. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how many other states jump on board with that, right? And, it's funny because I was talking to someone last week who is not really in the know the way we are. And, going over expenses and budgets with someone I was coaching. And I said, well, don't sweat too much. Income taxes are going to go away. And of course, I'm here in New York. And they were like, oh, they're never going to get rid of taxes here. and I said, I think they are. I said, but then they're not going to if they get rid of state taxes, we still have property tax. And I said, no, I think it's all going to go away. I said, just sit tight, just keep following what's going on. It's rolling out. But I do think as more of this stuff hits the mainstream, right? Like with Mississippi, I think over maybe the next few months, maybe people will start to accept more when they hear people like us, that maybe what we've been talking about for so long, we're not, these crazies that are just, pulling these ideas and having these conspiracy theories. So where are we now with the state taxes? We've got Mississippi that ended it. Obviously, Florida never, hasn't had it for a long time. With Mike, are you aware of any other states over the last, 6 months that have gotten rid of the state taxes?
Well, no, I don't know if any of them have gotten rid of them, but I know that there's proposals, especially the most significant one is Florida with the property tax. Right. Because they have an elderly population, a lot of retirees there. That's really going to be important. And it's going to set up the principle in precedent, like in a legal precedent, that you have no right to seize someone's property because of taxes. And that's really going to be the essence of what the argument's going to be in the end. And because where we have to take this, to me, is from a moral ground. We have to say, look, taxes are immoral. Taxation is theft. Property taxes are immoral. You paid taxes all your life on your earnings. You paid taxes on your mortgage. You paid taxes on the house. And at some point, it has to end. And if it doesn't end at age 55 or when the mortgage is paid off or something like that, it absolutely should end at the water's edge when it comes to no state or government or any entity at any level should have the right to seize your property, your house, your home, your domicile, unless you've committed and been convicted of a federal crime, or a felony. That's what I think. And even then, it better be drug running or something like that. It better be something really terrible. So, we have to establish a moral high ground here. And that's the beginning of what we're seeing in these states. And I think once people get used to that, they're never going back. Once you see how much bigger your paycheck is without taxes, it's unbelievable. I remember I took a job in California in 2003. I was living in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, with my soon-to-be ex-wife. And, hi, Amber. And when I moved to California, not only was I getting paid really well, but because I was a contractor, I got this exemption where the first $45,000 I earned was tax-free. That means federal tax-free. And you would not believe the size of my paycheck. It was a $50 an hour job. But the size of the paycheck then without that federal tax was unbelievable for those first 6 months or so. So once people see that, they're going to love it. They're going to get addicted to it. And they're going to start asking questions. Well, if we're so far in debt and we can just print money and send it to Ukraine, why am I paying taxes? That's where it's going to hit.
My question is this: what happens to all the people that got their homes confiscated last year, 6 months ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago? What are we going to do for those people when we know that this whole thing was an illegal Ponzi scheme from the fucking beginning, number one? And number two, okay, all the people that are yelling and screaming at the county level is because your Ponzi scheme is about to go away.
Yep.
That's why they're yelling and screaming.
And the answer, Mel, is all those people need to be recompensated for the theft of their property.
And the people who are yelling and screaming, who got a Ponzi scheme, we need to send DOGE, the bulldozer, in and fucking put people in fucking handcuffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed. Now, here's the other thing. I don't know, you guys probably hear this too, but just thinking of the normie, and I have a new expression nobody might have ever heard, which I will share with you. But the other thing, whenever you say there's going to be no taxes, right? The first thing, people get panic in their face and go, well, what about the roads? And how are we going to fix? Like, Mike, can you just speak to this one more time about where our taxes have gone anyway?
Yeah. Your taxes go through the internal revenue service. They revenue your funds. They revenue them to the European debtor, the European bankers, the creditors of this country, who have put us in bankruptcy since 1789. And if that money's all going to them, it's not going to pay for your roads or your bridges or anything else. That money they just print anyway and issue as block grants. So there's absolutely no reason why any of this should matter. It's like, look, it's simply a question of allocating numbers on a bookkeeping chart. That's all it is. How do we get those numbers? Well, we'll print them out. Well, that creates debt. Well, it's all paper debt. So your taxes never went to anything anyway, except the European bankers, the Vatican Bank, the Rothschilds Bank of France, the Crown of England, all the people who have been stealing our wealth for the last 270 years or 50 years or whatever it is. Can you imagine how wealthy this country would be if it wasn't for that money being stolen out of our resources for the last 250 years? It'd be crazy. And I think that's the future we're headed to when we get in the SAR. So it never goes to any of that stuff anyway. They need money for that. They just allocate it in a budget. Oh, what do? They print it out of your birth certificate bond, which is sitting in one of the in 10 different Federal Reserve Bank districts. oh, Mike Barra, he's worth $11 billion per district. Oh, okay. Well, how much has he got left? Well, he's got $9 billion left. Oh, let's take $1 billion out of his account. We'll print money on that and give it to these people to build a bridge. None of your tax money ever went to anything like that, or infrastructure or anything anyway. But the other thing is, Elisa, they're going to have to keep that illusion up for a while because of Doge, because Doge has to sell people on, they stole these trillions of dollars of your tax money. They didn't actually steal your tax money. They stole your birthright. They stole your birth certificate. That money that you're supposed to be able to control how it's spent. And it's gonna be a long time before they tell us that truth, because they still have to have some sort of government. At least that's the perception right now.
So what do you think Trump is going to do on April 2nd, Liberation Day? Besides,
good question.
Obviously tariffs are really are going to be a big part of this, but I also think he's going to be making announcements about new benefits coming to people. And I don't know exactly what those are going to be. I suspect it would be Social Security. Everybody right now, one of the things that they're having a hassle about is, Trump's going to cut Medicare. He's going to cut Social Security. I think he should basically say, because yesterday Elon set this up. Did you guys see the chart where they found like trillions of dollars were going to illegal aliens in Social Security? And they're going to say something like, well, we caught all those guys. They're not getting paid anymore. So that money is now going to be turned back over to you, and everybody's benefits are going to go up by $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. I think we're going to start to get that, and we're going to get this. I have to look at this incrementally. I think this is a big incremental step, but it's basically what they're setting up is, how are they going to explain where all this new money is coming from? And Mel, it's going to come from revaluing the gold in Fort Knox. It's going to come from cryptos like XRP and Bitcoin, and it's going to come from the revaluation of the currencies. But they can't tell us that. So,
are we sure we have gold in Fort Knox, or we have gold-plated lead?
My suspicion is we have a lot of gold in Fort Knox. That's my suspicion, because again, I don't think we're going to a gold standard on Tuesday or Wednesday.
When are they opening up the doors? That's what I want to know. When is the doors?
They would have showed us Fort Knox by now, Mel. I think if they were going to do that, they would have shown us Fort Knox and said, oh my God, there's 10 times more gold in here than we thought. And it's all real. They haven't done that yet, but I can see that step coming.
So, Mike,
a lot of people say we haven't landed on the moon. A lot of people say there's no gold in Fort Knox. A lot of people are saying a lot of stuff. I think there's no gold in Fort Knox, and they're panicking, and they made that area flood. That area hasn't flooded in 29 years. All of a sudden, it's flooding now, which is suspicious all by itself. And is that maybe a tactic? Maybe with the underground tunnels, they're moving the gold in there. Maybe there's some secret tunnel that they're going to move the gold in there in the middle of the night.
Now, you know that there's secret tunnels under Fort Knox. Of course there is. There's been there probably since the 40s or 50s, or since they pretended to put all the money in Fort Knox, all the gold in Fort Knox in the 30s. So of course there are.
Where is it? Where is Fort Knox?
It's in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Well, so
I'm Canadian, so I have to ask these things.
Okay. Well, yeah, so you got to watch the movie. You got to watch the movie. What is it? Goldfinger, the James Bond movie Goldfinger. It explains a lot of stuff is explained in that movie. A lot of hints in that movie.
Yeah. So if you watched Elon yesterday at some sort of Wisconsin event for one of the governors.
Yeah, he's trying to get a judge elected to the Supreme Court there. Yeah.
He talked a lot about Fort Knox and a whole bunch of different things. He was revealed things that I hadn't heard yet. So yeah. Especially if you stay on top of it.
I think that he's going to be taking a couple of steps back, and he's going to allow Donald Trump and the United States, not corporation government, but the actual government, the actual what do you call it? I can't think of the name right now, but anyway.
Well, he's only got 130 days, right? He can only be
exactly. But what they're going to do is they're going to bring in all these big balls guys. They're going to bring in even more big balls guys that are even smarter than the original 100. And Elon is going to step backwards. He's going to say, hey, I got nothing to do with it. Donald Trump hired these guys directly now. They work for him. I'm going back to building Teslas. Leave me alone, right? And that's where it's headed. So I think the constitutional government at this point is going to be responsible for paying these guys, and they're going to go full steam ahead. And I think even faster than when Elon Musk is in charge. But I'm sure that they're going to put a couple of people that are very competent, that you're not even going to know what their names are, that are going to run the entire show, who are going to be managing those 300-400 big balls, okay, with supercomputers, with quantum computers, breaking into everything. I mean, all hell's about to break loose. I really believe that.
Yep.
So getting back to the gold conversation, right, really fast before we move on, we know that there were, I don't know if I'm going to get this number right. I think it was 650 flights that came out of the Vatican that were moving the gold back in 2022, I think.
Yeah,
like
650 plane loads anyway, right? Yeah.
Yes. And so where do you think that went?
Went to Fort Knox.
That's supposedly where it went when it came in.
Yeah,
I beg to differ. I think it went to Cheyenne Mountain.
That's what I had heard. That went to Cheyenne Mountain, and I think it was visible on the where you can see where the military jets, like you could look at that site to see the flight pattern that they had taken, and I thought it was Cheyenne Mountain, but I don't know. Is it still there? Has it moved?
Why would it go to Cheyenne?
They can't fit all the gold they have underneath the Vatican that goes from the Vatican all the way to Jerusalem in a tunnel that's 1,500 kilometers, that's 30 feet wide and 30 feet high, or 30 meters, I think, if I'm not mistaken. There's just too much gold for it to fit all in Fort Knox. Even if they filled it to the brim, every square inch spoken for, they would need 1,000 Fort Knox to be able to fit all of the gold, maybe 2,000 Fort Knoxes.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no question that tons of gold have been repatriated, but this is gold that was probably stolen from us in the first place. So, you got to remember, FDR, as soon as they got the gold in Fort Knox or got it away from the American people, they started selling it off to all the bankers and creditors, and started World War II. Again, World War II is a war between the Teutonic Knights and the Freemasons. So it's basically the Knights Templar. So, Hitler, if you go back and look at what Hitler wrote, everybody's like, well, he talks about the Jews, getting rid of the Jews. It's like, no, it says the Jews and the Freemasons. He puts the Freemasons right up there. So all this stuff, they basically stole all of our wealth, all of our real money, took away a allodial title. A allodial title is if you buy something with gold or silver, no one can ever take it away from you. No government, no entity on earth can take it away from you or your family. You can give it to whomever you like. They took that away so that they could manipulate the system the way they have been since 1933. And Trump, when he got into office the first time, I think he made them pay it all back. I think he said, this is all our gold. And, that's why he did the world tour right after he became president. That's why the Queen walked behind him in the procession, reviewing the British troops. Everybody's like, oh, well, Trump violated protocol. No, she motioned him ahead. Yeah. Why? Because he was the creditor, not the debtor. She had become the debtor, and she knew her place, which was behind him, 2 steps behind and to his right. So
there's a new sheriff in town, and the world knows it. Everybody's lined up to kiss the fucking pinky ring. Basically, this guy is talking to world leaders, and they're saying, no, Mr. Trump, we're not going to be doing that. And because he's look, what Ron Paul wanted to do, Donald Trump is doing in spades, because it takes that kind of a guy that's like belongs in a cage fight, okay, that needs to be in charge, because Ron Paul, love him to death, right ideas, but he's not the macho kind of guy that can carry that out. You need a guy that's got a fuck you attitude. And next thing you know, it's like, no, I'm not abiding by your fucking rules. By the way, I'm putting 199,000% tariffs on every shit you want to move to the United States. You're out of business, Jack. Next thing you know, say, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Trump. Can I kiss your pinky ring now? Yeah, get in line, motherfucker.
But did you hear Rolls-Royce is moving supposedly going to move their manufacturing to the States to avoid the tariffs?
Yeah.
Good for them. We'll welcome them. They're a good company.
Yeah. So, all right. So, just kind of moving right along, I wanted to get into this. Oh, by the way,
can I add something?
Yeah.
Can I add something about Trump? Is that you have to have thick skin. I mean, we get put down a couple of times, and it's like, right. And then he could get stabbed in the back, and he still he's got thick skin, and he's got something's protecting his back psychosomatically.
I have a way with words, right? I have a way with words. I'm sorry for cutting you off because I need to make sure I don't lose this train of thought. I can write incredible emails. I want to write the most amazing email ever. Like, basically, the American people are demanding to see arrests at this point because we have the proof beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay. With big balls and 4 trillion missing there and 4.2 trillion missing here and $69 billion missing there and $200 billion missing there. I think I speak for the American people. I think you guys would agree. If we were to put together a really cool email, but not send the email because that email will never get sent, but turn it into an audio and put it all over the internet and have the patriots just move it out there like freaking crabs in a whorehouse. Okay. Literally, no pun intended. Okay. Wow. I mean, like, let it spread out there like crazy until it gets to Donald Trump and let them know the American people want to see fucking arrests. The people of the world want to see arrests because I'll tell you what, the people of other nations are waiting to invite in. Okay, DOGE, because if you think it's only happening in the United States of America, you're making a big mistake.
Well, you even have Miele in Argentina. He's released paperwork, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm told what it basically says is, yeah, Hitler did come to Argentina after the war, and he lived 20 years, and he had 2 kids, and by the way, one of them is named Angela Merkel.
Right, exactly.
And he's he needs Doge to come in, because I think what's happening with Doge, how they're finding this is that his AI is so advanced that they know exactly what to look for and how to find all this stuff. And I mean, literally what they're uncovering would have taken years, even a decade ago. And now it's happening in like a day. Doge is finding everything. So yeah, exporting Doge to the world. Let's charge the world that. Let's charge them. Let's make them pay us for that. Yeah, we'll bring Doge to France, and you can see, what's really been going on with your country. Wow.
Didn't Malley, as soon as he got in, there was a whole board full of stickers, right? And he said, this is gone, this is gone, this is gone, this department's gone, this department's gone.
Yep.
As soon as he got in. So how about El
Look,
Salvador?
I think we have so much overwhelming evidence, irrefutable evidence at this point. Not just the American people, but the people of the world want to see accountability. We want to see heads roll. We want to see people swing from a rope, like my good friend Jess, the guy in the garage over there in South Dakota, is saying. We want to see people swing from the fucking rope. I think people would be lined up from here to fucking Antarctica to buy a ticket to watch this shit on pay-per-view.
You could pay off the national debt with just pay-per-view. James Comey is not even arrested yet. So what are we waiting for? Come on, folks.
Exactly. So you guys in line, I'm going to put together the most prolific, the most compelling, jargon, and then we're going to turn it to an audio, and we're going to get everybody involved, including the people who are listening right now, and we're going to spread it out there like crazy until it gets to the commander-in-chief. And I could get to the commander-in-chief, not to brag, but I got people directly, like intermediary who knows an intermediary who knows an intermediary who knows Donald Trump.
Yep, that's great. Let's get him involved. Help me get to Anna Paulina Luna, because she's off on a tangent with this Kennedy assassination committee, and it's such a disaster. It's like there's no point in having disclosure if you reach completely the wrong conclusions about what's being disclosed. And I mean, I look at all the truth that needs to come out about what happened to Kennedy, and believe me, it's not just that the CIA killed Kennedy. It's way behind that. It's who gave the orders to the CIA? There's all these things that just right now, as it stands, aren't going to come out. I mean, God, it's like torture for me to watch even the woke news, because they get everything so wrong all the time. Oh,
absolutely.
Everything is Israel. No, everything's not Israel. Some of it's Israel, but not all of it. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I'm just like, on the one hand, Mel, I'm like never been more enthusiastic about being alive and seeing all this truth come out. On the other hand, I've never been more frustrated that we just can't get people to focus and go beyond their pre-established conclusions.
Yeah, but one of the things that think needs to happen, I think you guys will agree wholeheartedly, right? Listen to this. the freedom of speech on social media needs to be fully restored. Because if the freedom of speech is fully restored and we are allowed to grow unimpeded, okay, and we got checks and balances in place where actual government programmers come into YouTube and say, okay, open up your fucking computers. We want to see if you're complying or you're not complying. Because if you're not complying, you get a strike one, strike two, strike three. Strike three, you're out. That means the government comes in with patriot programmers and we own your shit because we have a word to get out. And if we're being stifled, we can't get that word out. Our word is more important right now than mainstream media.
I mean, Twitter is the best situation to be in, Twitter X, but even that, I mean, I'm very suppressed on Twitter. I've seen things where like a guy who has 1/4 of my followers puts something out and there's tens of thousands of interactions, hundreds of likes, and you know, a couple of hundred comments. And I put something out and it's like, it's better content and crickets, hardly anything, right? So I know, because I've used bad language, I've called people fuck faces and other things like that. I know I'm suppressed, and it's like there needs to be an internet bill of rights needs to be the first thing. And Mel, I'm sorry, first very top thing, if the first strike is all of your entire board of directors goes to jail for 3 years if you're suppressing free speech. That's strike one. Strike three is, somebody else comes in and takes over and does it the right way, because it's crazy. And look, until I can quote from the script from Blazing Saddles, chapter and verse on any social media platform, there is no free speech on social media. And social media is the town square. It is the media. It is the truth right now. And we still aren't even close, Mel. We're not even close to being able to.
If he's going to get the message out, it's not going to be through Fox or CNN. It's going to be through channels like this. Okay, right. Because we want to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God, okay? And we are willing to put it all on the line. You have to understand that the enemy, the people who are in the communist movement, okay, they are willing to die for their cause. You and I have made a commitment to put our lives on the line, including Elisa, including Maureen, okay, over there in Costa Rica. You know why? Because the only way you get to beat this enemy is you got to get the message across that, hey, you're willing to die for your cause, motherfucker. I'm willing to die for mine. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose, and I ain't losing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So now I did an incredible podcast yesterday with Staple crew, Alan, who used to drive. He was a pilot for yachts. Not just any yachts, guys. This guy used to be the private yacht captain for who? Paul Allen, the Bushes. Okay, it is an epic, and there's going to be a part 2, part 3. He was shocked. He didn't realize that the interview was going to turn out to be so good. He didn't realize that I got pretty darn good at my craft, right? And so he was shocked. He was like, wow, this was really good, Mel. So we're going to do it again. And we're going to talk about Paul Allen, and we're going to talk about the Bushes. How far is he willing to go up to the gray line? I don't know. But the only thing I can tell you is we are literally in line. But in order for our message to get out, and we are the new mainstream media, and I think that Donald Trump doesn't think that, even though there's a lot of problems around the world and there's a lot of fish to fry, I think this is one of the biggest fishes to fry, because if we're going to win the war and we're going to win hearts and minds, we got to be able to get our message across. If our message is being stifled, Houston, we got a problem.
Yep.
Right?
Well, we're in an information war. I mean, and if you don't get that information out, and the other thing is too, if we're being stifled, right? People that are still so convinced that they need to watch Fox, or they need to watch CNN, or they need to watch, network TV, God forbid, they still associate that until something is said there, right? Like, I know so many people that are relatively awake, but they didn't hear it on the news. They didn't say it on the news. So if our voice is able to get out there more, we're going to start competing with that. And they're going to say, okay, so there's a lot of this coming from this direction. Maybe that's what I should be following, instead of the nonsense that I'm following because it has the title of what I'm used to news is called.
You know, that's so interesting, Elisa, because I had a friend, Richard C. Hoagland, who was kind of my mentor, who gave me my start in UFOs and co-wrote a book with him, Dark Mission, in 2007, which was very successful. He was friends with, among other people, Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek. And Richard's thing was this object called the face on Mars, which I will tell you now is an artificially constructed humanoid-looking face on the planet Mars, surrounded by pyramids and all this other civilization. And he's trying to convince Gene that this is something real. And Roddenberry says to him, but Richard, if the face on Mars was real, it would be on television. Oh. And he was serious. And that is still the mentality. If Nassara was real, it'd be on television. If currency resets were real, it'd be on television. If Pizzagate was real, it would be on television, on CNN.
Property taxes are going away, and it was on AM because I was waking up right before the show, and I said to Amber, make sure you send that video, thinking that she's watching, a YouTube video. I said, can you please do me a favor and send that video to Lisa so we can talk about it on the show? She goes, what are you talking about? This is AM radio. So I'm listening to somebody on AM radio talking about DeSantis literally making good on his threat to get rid of property taxes. So it is already mainstream. You feeling me?
Yeah, that's important. And that's why, unfortunately, they're still important, because we're not going to reach the last sleepwalking 20% until we get on CNN.
Unfortunately. Well, and so I don't know if you guys ever heard this expression, Carol, you might have, because you're like in the spiritual world, but I heard love. The acronym for love is let others voluntarily evolve. And I think it's kind of like what we've been talking about, the frustration we have of these people that are not waking up. Like last week we had a whole conversation about, you got to just let it go and just focus on what we can do and speak to the people that are ready to hear it. So anyway, last week we had a whole thing. Carol, I don't know if you caught it last week. We were talking about Tesla, and we were talking about what's going on. So did you catch that? Cash made a statement about the Tesla violence. The FBI has announced that it has launched a high-stakes investigation into a series of violent attacks targeting Tesla vehicles and charging stations across the country, labeling the incidents domestic terrorism. So we were kind of talking about that. Now we'll see what happens, but they are obviously not playing around with how they're categorizing these lunatics that are doing this.
Well, they're showing a lot of El Salvador prisons that, they might even, if they're terrorists, then they might be going to El Salvador. If you want to scratch a vehicle, Tesla vehicle, this is other people's property too. It's
That's a great idea. Send them to El Salvador prisons. The only thing worse than that might be a Turkish prison. So,
well, I think they did. Was it Gitmo or El Salvador? I was watching, but they've in 2 weeks they built a whole nother conglomeration of it. They announced it yesterday.
A whole new wing. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, what do you think, Maureen, that we could get to the president of El Salvador? I absolutely love this guy. And I would love to, I'll fly down to El Salvador with a camera crew, and I will interview him face to face. This guy is a charm. He is the Donald Trump of El Salvador. This guy is not playing around.
Well, they're decentralizing their medical system too. So that's
yes, through your friend, the guy that's a Bitcoin guy. What's his name?
Jack.
I want to interview him as well. He's brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Except to have to rewire his brain for XRP because he thinks it's Bitcoin. Other than that, he's okay. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? No. Only I am, and I'm still 40 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
So, Carol, what are you hearing? Anything interesting from your end? And I know you've been so amazing to get to build some connections that we're going to need for Quantum Summit 3. Try to bring some new faces in and high level people that can really make that a very interesting event. Anything that you're hearing?
Well, what do you mean? Like Canadians?
Just in general, the latest in the news stuff that.
Yeah, that's I mean, there is so much. I mean, you can't even, people ask me all the time because they know I watch everything. And so, especially like in Costa Rica here, that Carol, what's happening? You know, because they're all living in La La Land somewhere doing yoga and meditation. Well, you know, meditate in your big toe, stay in your body. Anyways, and I just say, you know what? I can't even start. There's just too much happening. And where do you even start? I mean, it's we hear so much. And going back to what we were saying about social media, I think that, you know, once they, you know, unveil, you know, what Facebook actually is, that it was started by DARPA, that like LifeLog, February 4th, 2004. At noon, they shut it down. Facebook started February 24th at noon. I mean, February 4th, 2004. So, I mean, there's a lot of fours. They do that for that reason, right? So they're using a lot of magic numbers. And, you know, and then you get the whole Christian side of things. They're all saying magic is evil and everything else. No, it's not. We all do magic. I mean, you make dinner and you're putting in herbs. That's magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you stir the soup, right? The cauldron. And it's about getting back to the magic, not losing the magic in life by getting synchronized. And when Trump actually takes off that stupid daylight saving time, and, you know, we're all in the same, you know, on the same page with that with the circadian rhythms, because that screws us up just like the calendar screws us up with having 28 days, 30 days, 31 days, 29 days, when it's 13 moons and it's 13 menstrual cycles. We get in touch with the circadian rhythms of the planet. That's what's to ground us and back into nature. And using, you know, I was on a show this morning talking to someone, and I was talking about the 2012 when things switched over from almost Eastern philosophy into shamanism and plant medicines and bringing back the divine feminine. Really, what's happening is the divine feminine rising. And this, you know, it happens every 13,000 years, according to the Mayans. So I kind of, you know, use that system. And that's what brought me to Costa Rica, was just getting synchronized with the Mayan calendar, in tune. And then you're in the right place at the right time and you meet the right people, instead of being all static. You know, our whole energy field is static then.
And look at the numbers right now, 444.
Yeah.
That's how many people are watching us right now. You just said 444, right? There they are.
Yeah, no,
everything's mathematical. It's spiritual mathematics. That's why I watch license plates, and Costa Rica's great for triple numbered license plates.
Right.
I do the same thing, Carol.
And that's why numerology works, Carol, is because it's based on the language of the universe, which is, you know, digital and geometric. And if you can sort that out, then you can figure out your life path and what you're supposed to be doing at a given moment. And,
I teach psychosomatic numerology, which is based on Dan Millman's book, The Life You Were Born to Live, and with our destiny numbers. And I mean, never lies. Trump is a 314. 3 is throat chakra, expression and sensitivity. And the crown chakra is 1, is creativity and confidence. But his soul ray is actually 4. His soul ray that's base chakra. It's all about finance, business, money. And that's what we're doing. We have to get back to the basics first. I mean, people say, well, what about the children? What about the children? I says, well, we have to get everything in order first, some structure, before we can bring that in. I mean, otherwise you bring that in, it'll just topple everything over right now. Got to stabilize the debt worldwide and assist others. Then we can bring in the children. But, you know, a lot's coming out. Even this morning, how someone posted something on the Cabbage Patch Kids. You know, this guy that has thousands and thousands of these postcards and children for sale. This is in the early 1900s. All the incubated kids that were in the World Trade or the World Fairs. Right. And we've seen this before. Are they all, what about the orphanages and all the orphan children, the orphan trains, they call it. So, I mean, there's so much. I think that's what's going to unite everyone once we get to that part. But we have to start with the base chakra, which is security, stability, family. I mean, the nuclear war is actually after the nuclear family.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you think of the World's Fair actually being ground zero here in Cape Canaveral, right in my backyard?
Oh, we talked about that, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be in South Dakota somewhere. I mean,
they were bouncing around, but they're like 98.9% bent on doing it in Cape Canaveral, where it makes sense because it's, Cape Canaveral happens to be Elon Musk's playground, and it makes sense that they would put it somewhere close to Elon Musk.
And what year is that supposed to be?
Supposed to be soon.
26.
Like next year.
2026?
26, yeah. Yeah. Well,
wow.
We'll see.
That's where they're going to be launching free energy technology. That's where they're going to be launching med beds. That's where they're going to be launching, cars that could move very, very fast. They look like Lamborghinis, but they are built to be able to travel at Mach speeds that will run circles around the F-18. All right, and some of our best Air Force airplanes that we have. This is going to be ground zero right here. And when people see that actual reality become a reality, just think about, we're still trapped in a freaking car made of metal, which cost them maybe about $4,000 to manufacture on 4 rubber tires. Someone is controlling the fact that everybody here is going to scrape the earth until the end of time like a bunch of turkeys. I want to get out of that situation. I want to be able to fly and go anywhere I want, whenever I want, with zero pollution, zero noise, with zero everything, and get there very, very quickly. And I think we're overdue for it, to be quite honest with you. 6,000 patents. You can't tell me that they don't have at least 24 different flying models that could do Mach 17 or Mach 34.
Yeah, they can put you up in a suborbital rocket and just drop you down. So you can be there in minutes. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Straight across.
I should have been able to go from Merritt Island to Venice Beach, and I should be able to get there if I wanted to take the scenic route in about 2.3 minutes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But here I am driving hours each way to you know what I mean?
I know. I got to go to LA next weekend for the Alien Event LA, and it's 4 hours and 20 minutes, 4 hours and 30 minutes. If I don't hit LA traffic on Friday, boy, good chance of that, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
It would take me a long time, and I would rather I could fly, but it's expensive, and it's like one tank of gas in expense versus, just Vegas to LA now is $500-$600 most of the time. It's ridiculous.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. We want to get, by the way, we're trying to get to, and I've been in live spaces with him, Grant Cardone. He's very, very bent on running for governor of California, and there's rumors now that came directly out of his mouth as well. Andrew Tate wants to run for governor of Florida. I would take Andrew Tate over Governor DeSantis every day of the week and twice on Tuesday.
Well, DeSantis is a bit of a backstabbing little toad. He's but he's done a few good things. He has stood up for a few things. But look, he backstabbed Trump. He got bought off easily. I think his spouse had a tremendous influence on him taking on Donald Trump. MAGA will never trust him. And so I think his effectiveness is just it's never going to happen. So you need to find somebody else for Florida to take over.
Well, I don't think there's that many people on planet Earth that have much more testosterone than Andrew Tate.
Yeah, well, Andrew's got his good points and he's got his bad points as well. So I'm not sure I want to jump on the Andrew Tate train, to be honest.
Well, I don't know, to be honest, women are not exactly huge fans of his. So I don't know how that would really play out in a governor election.
Andrew Tate? Yeah. I thought Trump endorsed a black guy.
He did.
Benny Johnson. Yeah. I thought Benny Johnson had him on 2 days ago.
He did, but there's always 4 years from now or 8 years from now. So, Yeah, I mean, Tate, it's funny. When a guy is hyper masculine, it does two things with women. It drives half of them away, and half of them are like caveman, and they love it. So,
Right.
Well,
Lisa,
I think because we've lost masculinity in men and we lost femininity in women, I think
100%.
masculinity has become sexy again, and I think femininity has become sexy again. So, because if I'm attracted to somebody who is very tomboyish, maybe I have gay tendencies. You know what I mean? Okay, and so I like a woman who's extremely feminine. Okay,
Yeah.
so femininity to Mel Carmine is very sexy and very much needed. Okay, I don't want a woman that's going to overpower my shit. I'm overpowering. I want to be the overpower. I'm the dominant force.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'm the man. Let me be my man. Let me be the man, right?
But you're right, Mel. Like, there was this whole, I think it was just like brainwashing to women, just to think that the more sensitive, and I'm not saying that men shouldn't be sensitive or have emotions. So I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is it was like, you want men to be women, like, no, you don't.
No.
You want men to be men, and they're not going to be the same as you, and that's the beauty of it. And they are stronger. I mean, listen, I'm sure there's women out there that are strong and could rival men, but for the most part, okay,
I don't have kids.
We shouldn't be competing on that physical strength. It should be assumed that men have more physical strength and women have maybe more sensitivity about certain things, and you complement each other. And maybe men could have a little femininity in the way they view things, and women can have a little bit of a masculine, essence to them when it comes to business or other areas. But you don't want men to be women and women to be men.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. Like, I don't have any kids, and you guys got to meet me in person at the Quantum Summit. What you see on camera is pretty much what you see and get in person as well. Okay. Right. I mean, imagine Mel Carmine, if I did have a kid, which at some point I will, either whether they're going to be adopted or through a surrogate mom or whatever.
Is Amber in on that, Mel? Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%. So,
just checking.
Yeah, and so the reality would be like, hey, if my 12-year-old kid came home and said, hey, they're trying to feminize me. Well, if you're a teacher or a guidance counselor and you're trying to feminize Mel Carmine's son, you're gonna get a beating. That's like guaranteed minimum, right?
Or they're telling your daughter that she should be a guy. That
I'm coming to school. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna smack you around.
Lisa, the biggest lie that feminism told is that a woman, you can be just as happy being like a man, being a big shot lawyer, climbing the corporate ladder as you can being a wife and a mother. And that's a lie. That's not true. That's like telling a guy you can be just as happy staying at home, taking care of the kids. You really can't, because you're not fulfilling your imperative as a man, which is to create and provide, right?
Well, especially when it's an either or.
Bullshit, everything got screwed up.
Yeah, especially when it's an either or, because women have been working. My grandmother, okay, if she was alive today, she'd be well over 100. Mm-hmm. She worked in the 40s.
So did my mom.
I'm saying, so he made it seem like women did not have the ability to do things. If you wanted to pursue, look at all the movies with Doris Day, right? She's working, she's a career woman. You could do that. I think that they made it seem like there was something wrong if you
stayed at home and took care of the family. Yes. Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I think it's how everything works better. I'm just going to tell you, I grew up in the 60s. Everything was better then. Everything about the way we treated each other was better. Yeah. And than it is now. Now it's a mess and nobody knows what to do. And you've got women who are 35 or 40 years old who thought, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to get this great job. And then I'm going to find a man who's 35 or 40 years old who wants to be with me and we'll start a family. And those men aren't there. Those men are all dating 22-year-olds because they're successful and they can, and they're younger and they're more fertile and they don't have any relationship scars. So, it's like now it's a complete mess because you got all these women that were told, oh, you can have all this and then you work yourself to the bone and you turn around and you're 40 and you're trying to compete with a 25-year-old. And it doesn't work for men. Men do not think that way. So there's been this plan, I think, an evil plan to insert these lies into society's head since at least the 1960s.
Well, not only that, but and let's not forget it was financial too, because now you have
to get them out, to get women out
in a family being double taxed.
To make them taxpayers. Exactly. To make them taxpayers, to generate more money for the corporation. That's absolutely true.
And take the kids and let them be raised by the state, because now women are sending their kids to school.
Daycare.
They call it
daycare.
Yeah, right. But you have to hear a lot of these women like, oh, he's got school. He's 2. It's not school. But they're 2 years old. They're putting them in younger and younger. They're not being raised at home with the family, with the mom, with the values. I mean, and then they're labeled because a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old doesn't want to sit still. They're not supposed to sit still. They're not supposed to be attentive for 3, 4, 5,
They're not
6
supposed to be
hours.
at school. Yeah, they're not supposed to be in school. And then another bit of damage that was really done was this idea of middle school. They brought this in right when I was graduating from high school, like in 1980. What the hell is a middle school? We used to have grade school, which was through 6th grade. You're 12 years old. You're not sexually developed yet. Most boys especially are not. Then you have junior high, which is 13, 14, and 15, where everybody's starting to physically mature, starting to emotionally mature, starting, to learn. And there was this cushion. And then they changed it to this middle school thing, where you're putting 6th grade boys and girls in with 15-year-old boys and girls. And it's like a disaster. They get overwhelmed. They get bullied. The girls get exploited. It's just absolutely terrible. And I think that was all part of the plan to destroy the way everything had been working successfully. Because the way schools were set up before, you were allowed to mature with people like you. There's not a lot of difference between a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old physically. There's a huge difference between a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. So, and that was just done. That was done to really destroy the fabric of America, or the fabric of the planet, really, the way the family structure worked and the way children matured. So now you have this complete mess of a situation that you can't fix it unless you change everything back.
Yeah, you have to. Like, I remember in the 70s growing up, and we're not even going to talk about playing in the street, which we all did, and we were outside and we had bikes because all the electronics and all that nonsense. But you could walk home. There were moms outside. You had to be careful because, if your mom didn't see you, someone else's mom was going to see you. Like, it kept order, and everybody had that support. Because you knew if my mom had to go out or do something, she knew that there were other moms on the block and that the kids had supervision and care, and it just turned totally upside down. And now you walk around, it's like ghost towns everybody's got overscheduled with events and activities and 47 things they have to do. And it's crazy.
That's when you knew your neighbors. I mean, a lot of people have no idea who their neighbors are, even because we're all, especially in the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, I don't. I barely know my neighbors in my new house here, except the guy over there that reported me for feeding the pigeons. HOAs, by the way, that's another thing that has to go.
I wanted to get back to something about women, what women want. They all want a Rhett Butler, tell you that.
Yeah.
Most women want a Rhett Butler. And, I've studied lots in Kama Sutra too. And, a woman's place, I mean, there's a matter of switching roles, like the hunter and gatherers and the protectors, the men going out. And so they're on their aggressive side, right? And they come home and, a woman's place is to keep the heart of the home. They are the center of what's going on in the house. We understand that. But that's the passive role, if you want to call it. And so in the bedroom, a woman's place should be in the aggressor's role, and that you switch polarities and the male becomes passive, so that the woman can teach a man how to make love and how, whatever speed it's at. I says a woman's place is always on top because they got to handle that gear.
I love Carol.
Because you've got to switch roles. Otherwise, men are expected to do everything.
Yeah.
And so that is when they can go into that passive side and surrender to that energy. And it gives a woman a place to use that type, more of an aggression or aggressive energy. So, I mean, why not? That's about switching polarities. And otherwise, a man is expected to know everything. So, even in the bedroom, they don't. Who's taught them?
Right.
We're not even supposed to talk about it. And it's a big part.
I don't know what happened to Mike. I think he dropped off.
He said he'll be right back. There was a notice came in.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I thought he didn't like my topic. I thought he did.
Maybe, he's very shy when it comes to sex and he just dropped off.
Yeah, no, I mean, think about it. I mean, it's a man has always got to perform then.
Well, I feel sorry. I feel sorry for some men, and so I had to figure out a way around it because men are typically so busy. I'm a very high energy kind of guy. I like chasing money. I like making money. I got a knack for making money. Money's attracted to me, and I hate saying no to opportunities. And I wish I could clone myself so I could say yes to everything that's attractive. But the reality is, if you're in a relationship with a woman and you're too busy and you're providing, cash flow coming in to where the woman really is a stay-at-home mom and hanging out with the kids or the dogs and just doing housework, at some point she gets bored and then she starts to complain that you're too busy. So the way around that is I got Amber really, really busy. I got all my staff really, really busy. They all hate me. As long as they hate me, I know I'm doing my job, right?
Mel, you got to let Mike back in. He's waiting in the waiting room.
Where is he? Okay, I don't know how to do this here. I think I don't see him.
No?
No.
He said someone's got to let me in.
Okay, I'm not sure how to private chat.
Huh? Go back to StreamYard.
I am here.
Flip your camera.
I did flip it. I did that.
Click guest.
Guests and invite. Oh, there he is. Add to stage.
See, Bingo. Good that you didn't go shopping.
I feel like the Patrick and Go.
Wasn't it great that Amber made her debut accidentally today?
Yeah. I like how she just did one of these. She just sort of.
And Mike's like, "Hi, Amber."
Got her in the back.
Yeah, hey, you missed the best conversation. We're talking about sex.
No, I didn't miss it at all. I was sitting there. I just shut my camera off so I could let my kitty cat in, and because she was clawing at the door. Speaking of men with soft hearts.
And Maureen said, Carol Maureen said, a woman's place is that she should be the aggressor and she should always be on top. No. I love that.
No,
I think I'm going to launch another show.
I was going crazy. I was like, no, I disagree with all that.
That's okay. We all have our.
You know what? It makes sense what you're saying, because what you're saying is that there's this polarity that happens depending on where you are, that nobody is stuck in one role, so to speak, and we're able to share with one another and bring the strengths, be strong, be weak, be strong, and share that with one another and bring out of the other, so that they're not always like, think about it for men, like, okay, maybe macho men think that's good, but I think men want to break too, wherever that might be. Like, why do I always have to be the one that has to provide and perform and, can't just relax?
And they're exhausted.
Because you're the man. I'm sorry to tell you, because you're the man, and that's the way God made it. So you should be in charge. You should be in charge in bed. You should be in charge everywhere. You're supposed to. Now, if a woman,
we are the what do you call kings of the jungle?
Yeah, I mean, it's that's the essence of masculinity, is to lead, and I think you should lead in the bedroom and lead outside the bedroom, and your woman is a complement to that. She is your support. She's your strength. She's your comfort when things are tough. And I think Carol, I have to tell you, I think relationships only work when they're on the men's terms. I really do. I think that's the only way it works, because when a woman gets control of stuff, guess what? I believe she loses respect for her man. I believe you lose your man card.
On every single aspect, because
you lose your man
card. I'm not
card.
sure I really agree with that, because women have strengths that men don't have.
No, I know.
And look at the world. Let's just look at the world. Who's running the world right now?
I think I'm launching a sex show starring Carol Maureen from Costa Rica, your sex coach. That's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to launch a sex show on the Mel Carmine show where the women should always be on top. Well, that would be like the slogan: "Women always on top."
It was funny because I was watching this show and it was this couple and they were about to get in bed and she tries to get on top of him and he goes, "No, because you don't get to be on top the first time. This isn't True Blood." Because True Blood was written by women.
How do we get from XRP and Bitcoin and?
Like, this isn't True Blood. You don't get to be on top the first time. After that, Carol, I mean, we don't have a problem after that. But first time, the man needs to be on top. It's just the way it is.
The first time, and then after that,
yeah. Well, I was going to elaborate on something. Is that I don't believe we have strengths and weaknesses. We have strength and sensitivity, and with a woman in charge well, I say in charge, not control, because nothing likes to be controlled, and especially an orgasm. No, that's got to come from sensitivity and relaxation, and life should be orgasmic, right? So now, Mike, you're blushing, aren't you? So it allows men to put their swords down. This is Kama Sutra. This is from...
That's right. The Kama Sutra is all about that.
Yes. Put their swords down and surrender in the bedroom. And so that's...
we may get hit with a lawsuit because we never made the announcement to get the kids out of the television set right now.
Exactly.
You got to stop the fighting, right? Because you're out there in a war out there, and it's nice to come home and relax. And so, I mean, it's otherwise, men are tired. It's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Well, that doesn't work in the bedroom.
No, that doesn't work either. Absolutely. I agree.
Surrender.
But they've got us so busy and they've got us so tired because they control reality. They control what kind of cars we drive. They control that we're wearing full rubber tires. They control inflation. They control spraying us. They control everything. They control the fact that the woman's got to go get a job because you can't make ends meet. They control the fact that they're getting 2 taxations instead of 1 taxation. They control everything up until now. So,
and government daycare, so they'll take away that too. I mean, it costs you just as much. Actually, when you do the books at the end of the day, it costs you money to have a job, out there in a job world, which I think we can shift now because a lot of us work from home, and we're doing this work. It's not even work because this is what we love. Yeah. And women, I mean, they are the healers too, the holers.
What we need to do, and I think you guys will agree with me, work needs to take on a whole new meaning. I want to go work in the gym, work out. I want to live in the gym 3-4 hours a day. I want to get ripped. I want to eat the right foods. I want to work on myself. I want to work on my mind. I want to work on being a better meditator. I want to work on being a better lover. I want to work on being a better friend to my wife. I want to work on having a great relationship with my friends and close ones. I want to work on being able to travel the world. I want to work on those kinds of things. Let's release the fucking technology already. Okay. Let the technology plant the tomatoes and the potatoes and the celery and the fucking carrots that are controlled by fucking satellites. Okay. Let the fucking, if we got autonomous cars that are driving by themselves in California and in Arizona, don't you think we can have autonomous trucks with robots delivering the tomatoes and the potatoes and put them on the shelf and spray them?
Yeah, we discussed that last week. The Democrats say, well, if we get rid of all the illegal immigrants, who's going to pick the strawberries? The machines that we build that'll do it way faster and more efficient.
I want to work on me. I don't want to work for the government. I don't want to work for the Rockefellers. I don't want to work for an illegal IRS. You guys are all going to fucking jail. We're taking all your shit, motherfuckers.
Mel, you got to pick up the energy a little bit. You're just too mellow.
You think?
Energy is just not high enough. Yeah. You got to amp it up a little bit, buddy.
I'll have another cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Jeez, please, God, no. Anyway.
Well, it's okay. When he gets home, he can get into his sensitivity His
Yeah,
sensitive
I've hung
Yeah.
around. I know. How
We are going to take all of their shit and we're going to put these people in prison. We've got to get rid of every single one of them. You know why? Because these people have no life. They're miserable. They want to make my life miserable. They want to make your life miserable. And the buck stops here. We got to take advantage of the fact that we got the right leader in place, and we don't want JD Vance coming in after him. But JD Vance doesn't have the testosterone to be the fucking president of the fucking United States of America. We need we need an Eric Trump. We need a Donald Trump Jr. That's who we need.
Eric,
need
not
Mel.
Donald.
We need Mel.
Yeah.
You like Eric
Well,
better than Don Jr.
I do.
Yeah,
And Carol, you like him better than Don Jr.?
Yeah, I think he's more level-headed. I mean, I watch Body Language.
I don't know. Don Jr. is a pretty epic troll.
And I think his wife would be a great first lady. I think Eric Trump's
Laura,
wife
yeah.
would be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank God it wasn't Kimberly Guilfoyle who Don Jr. was dating for a while. A lot of people think she was the mole in the Trump campaign, so she got sort of
Sent
put
to
out to
Greece?
pasture in Greece. Yeah. So.
I watched the whole show on that. Apparently, she liked to party a lot, and Don Jr. hasn't had a drink since 2001.
Mhm.
So yeah, she was like to be the life of the party, and I guess at some point you got to clean up. But that's Gavin Newsom's ex-wife. So
Yeah, that's another thing that concerns me is anybody who would sleep with Gavin Newsom's got to have issues, right? How can you trust anybody that would do that?
Yep.
I don't think she was that pretty to begin with. I mean, are we talking about the girl that was the one that was saying the best is yet to happen when the election didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen? That girl, she wasn't even pretty. I mean, she's a very strong woman. She's a great speaker. She was great at the rallies, but she's not that pretty.
I've seen pictures of Kimberly Guilfoyle at the beach. She's attractive.
I know. I wouldn't want her on top. That's for sure.
you might smother. Yeah, you might be smothered. I don't know.
We're gonna get.
She's a very smart woman. She's very smart and was a very good spokesman for Trump. When she was on Fox on the 5 and things like that, and
I think she has she's got big lips. So
that's probably the issue.
Well, that's not real.
We call it a big mouth. No, the mouth.
No, we're not. No, we're not talking
mouth.
about
I think you meant the fullness.
Yeah.
Amber calls those sausage lips.
Well, you can tell by what's down below by a person's lips. They're generally
She was also the one apparently who was adjusting herself right behind Donald Trump's head at the convention. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? They close in on Trump and she's grabbing her crotch and itching or something. And we're like, everybody's pretty sure that's Kimberly Guilfoyle. Right in the shot, it was all over Twitter.
Only you would catch something like that, Mike.
That one.
No, it was everybody else was talking about it. Like, oh my God, she did. What's going on there? Anyway.
Well, guys,
I think we covered everything. I think this was the greatest podcast for Monday. I think maybe Carol Maureen had a lot to do with it. Thank you for coming. Last moment's notice. And listen, when somebody can't make it, as long as we have enough of a leeway, enough time to replace you for that one episode, or Mike, you can't make it next Monday, for example, hypothetically speaking, tell us 4 days in advance. We'll have to get somebody else to cover for you, and we could switch it around, and I think it'll make it very interesting.
Yeah,
it's never going to be as interesting without me on it, Mel, but it'll be interesting. Because it's got you and Elisa and
well, listen, you're at Costco buying Preparation H and condoms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, dude, seriously, it was my diabetic medication. Okay, come on. You're just lucky it wasn't yesterday. If it was, I canceled everything yesterday. I was so hungover from Saturday night. There's an upside and a downside to living in Las Vegas. I will tell you that. But we got to do Quantum Summit 3 here. We have to have it here in Vegas.
And I'm not ruling it out. I am not, because we got kicked out of the Radisson. We're no longer allowed to go back. I'm going to do everything in my power to get rid of that freaking manager over there. It's a long story. I'll let you guys know at the right time.
Bring them in tons of
Awful.
money. We brought them tons of
I
money.
bought him a ton of money. I bought him. No, you know what it is? They're into one-hit wonders. I don't know that the corporate knows the way this particular manager is running them, because if they knew, I bet you he'd be out of there very, very quickly.
You got to let them know.
Oh yeah, we're going to let them know. I think you and I, Elisa, will get together, put a strategy together, because I think that what they did to us was wrong.
Yeah.
First of all, the food was okay, but it wasn't the same food that I had at the tasting.
Yeah.
Number one. You know?
And Mel, I have a friend and business associate who's run events like all over for major organizations that he's been part of, and he has got it down to a science, how to write the contract, how to organize these things. So we'll connect everything together. We'll make those same mistakes next time.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have contracts with such high-level speakers that have 300, 400, 500,000 followers who are podcasters are going to be begging to come to Quantum Summit Part 3. Begging, okay?
The thing with Vegas is that it's so easy to fly into from most places. That's the key. And of course, they've got the hotel rooms, right? Mm-hmm. They've got the facilities. And people often stay a day or two after.
What I think I'm going to do is going to be a VIP, general admission, gala dinner, but all the gala dinner and the lunch and whatever it is you want to buy, it's going to be on your own. It's going to be a la carte. You order it. You're going to have 3 choices, 4 choices, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to go there when they actually have an event. I want to be at one of their events to make sure that the food at the event is up to Mel Carmine snuff, and then I'll make a decision.
There you go. Well, look, I can do the groundwork.
In Vegas, you can have people just go out for lunch too. You don't have to.
Yeah, they can go anywhere. There's a million places to go.
There's 8 million places, exactly.
And fast,
right?
Fast. I mean, sometimes you go into cities that there's no restaurants, and you put 50 people in at lunch hour, they don't come back on time. I've noticed that at a lot of conferences. But in Vegas, you just walk down the street, it's everywhere.
There's buffets that are so elaborate, and there's all kinds of things.
And nobody can complain about the food.
In the hotel. You just go to one of 20 restaurants in the hotel.
That's right.
Yeah, you go to a buffet that's like $49, all you can eat lobster and shrimp and scallops and sushi and all kinds of exotic shit and caviar. And there's a half a mile buffet.
Yeah, we just bring the Caesar's Palace buffet right to us. So your lunch buffet.
And I'm telling you, I might steer in that direction. I really will. But I'm going to probably come like 2 weeks in advance, and I'm going to make a vacation out of it. So I want to make sure that we pay attention to detail, to every little detail. It's got to be perfection. The first one was great. The second one was even better. The third one, we're going to hit it out of the park.
There you go.
Yeah, and also it would bring down the price quite a bit if you're not including those luncheons, because you had a lot.
Exactly. Bingo. That's exactly my point. We're going to make it affordable to where everybody's going to want to come, but hopefully the XRP is worth, $28 next time around.
And another thing you can do, Mel, too, is you could provide a less expensive lunch. Like say if you want to stay at the conference and have lunch, the hotel will serve it. It costs this much. And that's when you bring in filmmakers, people like Darcy Weir that are in UFOs, or people that have made different documentaries and stuff, and you play their movies during the lunch hour and stuff.
Yeah, well, we're putting together quite the database of people that we can get in touch with, literally like this, of people that potentially could be at the next Quantum Summit. And it all depends on, is the revaluation here? Is it partially here? Is it 10% here? Whatever it is. If there's a lot of new multi-millionaires, we may have a 2-day event, a day break, and the final day event, and then it'll be a party after that, because nobody's going to want to go home. Everybody's going to want to hang out with Mel Carmine and Elisa and Maureen.
Who doesn't want to hang around with Mel Carmine?
Yeah, I'm just as much fun in person as I am on camera.
Right? There needs to be a Mel Carmine cologne, Amber. I hope you're listening to me, because who doesn't want to smell
it? A bobblehead. A bobblehead.
Don't give me any ideas. I don't need another business.
Yeah. There you go.
Smell like Mel Carmine.
Carmine.
Smell like Mel.
Yeah.
I sleep with my center a lot. And I can't wait to get back, because tonight I'm going to go sleep there and charge up again, because I've been away. I've been on the West Coast of Florida. and I want to get T-shirts made because I sleep. Everybody sleeps in their own bed, but I want to I want to get T-shirts made that says "I slept with Mel Carmine." Well, if they're doing it overnight, you gotta love it, no?
I have these tank tops for the ladies, and it shows a flying saucer, a UFO, right? And on top it says, "Of course," and below it says, "They're real." So those are the ladies too.
There you go.
I get you.
And before I forget, I got to make an announcement. Jason Shirka is going to be at our center live in the flesh. I believe it's going to be June 8th or June 9th, Amber? June 9th. June 9th, I think between like 5 and 7:30, something like that. And what's that? Oh, 6 to 8. I'm sorry, from 6 p.m. Amber's in my back seat. You see my little cheat sheet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Amber, say
6 to 8.
hi. Just sit up and say hi to everyone.
Yeah, there she is. There's Amber.
You see her hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's shy. What can I tell you?
We're gonna get her on stage next year.
Oh my God! Yeah, maybe one day I could get her to do a podcast in Tagalog. In her native language. Maybe, who knows? I know there's like part of her that wants to do it. No, she's like no.
No.
But so Jason Shirka tickets are on sale. It's a very friendly price. What is the price, baby?
45.
$45. Okay, you get to hang out with Jason Shirka. I'll be there. We might bring a couple other local celebrities as well that are podcasters, but it'll be the 9th.
Yes.
The 9th of June between 6 and 8 p.m. And then we're going to hang out afterwards. And there's going to be a special price for all you people who want to stay overnight that specific day. So you can come sleep with Mel Carmine.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the T-shirts.
Yes, I'll have the T-shirts made. Guys, it was great. Hey, guys, get this out everywhere. Don't forget to go watch my show with Joby Weeks. The government stole 92,000. That's the actual number. We have to make a correction when I get to Colorado to do the part 2. I'm going there in a few days. Joby Weeks, the government stole 92,000 Bitcoins. This guy was a miner on steroids. It's a long story. Go watch the show. That thing should have gotten 100,000 views in the first day. It didn't do that because, yes, I'm being censored even on Rumble as well. And I'm being censored, obviously, on YouTube and everything, except for, but I don't have a big following there yet. X.com.
Who stole
92,000 Bitcoins. Joby Weeks.
Joby. That wasn't part of Silk Road, was it?
No, yeah, he was part of all of that. Yeah. He was all part of all of that. Did he drop away again?
I think
Where is he?
Yeah, you did great today. Almost 500 people.
609 people watching right now. 609.
Can I mention there's a marathon tomorrow, right, on Screw Big Gov with Louis Herm?
Oh, yeah. Tell him to invite me. I would love to go to that.
No, it's tomorrow all day. It's I don't know how many speakers he has.
Oh, I'm going to send him a message. He's a good friend of mine, so I'll send him a message.
Carol, where is it?
Well,
it's online.
Oh, it's online.
Yeah. He does a 24-hour marathon, and you'll tell you exactly the time slot you come on. You come on 5 minutes before, and he just goes 24 straight, 24 hours. He's done this many times.
No, 12. We're 12 hours tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. He's creating some kind of an app for events planning that you'll just basically put in the area, and it'll tell you if there's any events going on and what the event is about for the entire the United States and Canada, I believe.
I think it's Freedom in Action. I don't know. There's the app. It's Happy New Year. It's the real. What's the website? The Real New Year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, therealnewyear.com.
Therealnewyear.com.
I'm speaking tomorrow at, I think it's 1:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
We all get 15 minutes or 17 minutes. And he does have a lot of new people on this time. First, there's a few repeats, but we're giving away prizes all day too. There's
awesome. Yeah. And also, guys, make sure you watch my interview that's going to be uploaded most likely tonight with the Staple Crew with Alan, off the Richter scale. I mean, I'll repeat it, off the Richter scale. Yeah, you're going to love it. Yeah. And so, anyway, guys, thank you for coming. And I had to pull over for this one, obviously, but I might do something really wild soon. I'll announce it. Let me end it right now, and we'll get you guys backstage. Thank you.
Bye.